Hello, everybody. Welcome. Here we are with another episode of the Living Chinuch podcast. We are discussing today a very, very important topic. It's about enjoying our kids and not just, we're going to discuss it from many different angles. There was a question that was submitted. Do you have anything you want to start with? No? Okay. There's a question that was submitted, which wasn't really a question. It was more of a general feeling of what do I do when I am ready for my kids' bedtime and it's only 4 p.m. And it brought up a lot of discussions between Sharon and I about our time together with our kids, about how we schedule that time frame. Also, how do we set ourselves up for the most amount of success with our kids during that time period? And through this, it brought up a lot of discussions. So I think we're going to start. I think we'll finish with this, if you don't mind.
Finish it?
Meaning finish with these two things.
Okay, fine.
So we're going to start with a few topics. So when it comes to our kids are coming home, and I know for me, I have an alarm. It goes off at 3 o'clock. I need to wrap up everything I'm doing. I need to bundle up the baby, and I need to get started, get going and set up for the next stage with the kids. So going to pick up the older boys, and that section of my day begins. And it's funny how as parents, I always joke that we have like 3 or 4 full-time jobs. Like whether we work full-time in like somewhere else, like at a job, or even if we're home with our babies, it's still a full-time job. And then we have to like switch hats. Like this is my, you good?
Yeah.
This is my early morning hat, getting the kids out to school. And then we switch on to the get laundry and the house all set and all that stuff. And that's another hat. And then we have another hat once the kids are coming home, and we have to set up for them and what we're going to do with them. And then comes the other hat, which is dinner, bedtime. And then after that, we put on the other hat, which is, the spouse is home. And so now we can actually discuss all of our decisions and our goals and our children's chinuch and, what's been going on with each other's days and all of that. So like it's as an adult, as a parent, we have to give ourselves a lot of credit, because we really deal with a lot. We really handle a big amount of stressors and a big amount of changes and schedules and a lot of juggling. There we go. 1 second. Okay, sorry about that. Okay, so first and foremost, I want to give everybody a huge round of applause, because just by being you, just by being a parent, just by being a mom, just a mom, like a wife, all of these things, just by being you, you're doing an incredible job. You're handling so much, and clearly you guys are functioning human beings, which means you have accomplished a lot with your time. So Baruch Hashem, huge mazel tov, and kol hakavod. Second of all, I want to discuss 2 pieces, which is, one is taking care of yourself, and the other one is taking care of your kids. So taking care of yourself means, I've said this before, but when I was a teenager and I flew the first few times flying by myself, I remember it being such a shock that the stewardess would say in the emergency thing, if for whatever reason the oxygen mask dropped from the ceiling, first put it on yourself, and then they do like that whole demonstration, and then do so for, your children or whoever's sitting next to you. So I found it very insensitive in a certain sense. Like, what do you mean? Why should I be top priority? I should really take care of my children. I should really take care of, whoever's next to me and help them. But in reality, if you're passed out, chas v'shalom, if someone's passed out because they didn't take care of their oxygen. So then that's a big issue. You're not able to help the other person. Okay. You're not able to help the other person. So when that happens, or it shouldn't happen, but we should see it in our lives that we're not trying to, we need to take care of ourselves in order for us to be the best caregivers for our children. What does this mean? It means that you need to make sure before your children come home that one, that you're not hungry, hopefully that you're not tired, hopefully that you're taken care of. What are you planning on doing with them during that time period? And that way you are not totally, distressed about, oh my gosh, what am I going to do with my time? So making sure that you took care of yourself and you took care of the things you needed to do, that is the most important. So for example, before your kids come home, you should have some sort of idea that you've eaten. Right before my kids come home, I make sure to find something around the house and stuff my face a little bit, just so I'm the most prepared for them. And if need be, if you can take a cat nap or something, if you're very tired and you know that the kids are coming, try and see, maybe lay down on the couch, maybe, figure out some way that maybe you can get in a little nap. Another thing to note is to mentally prepare yourself for this time period and realize that it's probably not going to be the most successful if you're stressed out about something else. So for myself, I know I carry a lot of stressors. I know that living Chassidus is heavy and it's heavy on my shoulders. And right now I have a lot of projects. So I try to make a mental decision that I'm just going to set those things aside and they will be taken care of after my kids, are in bed, or after my husband comes home and he gives me a little bit of respite and I'm able to take care of those things. Another thing to point out is to prepare yourself to be away from your phone. Because if you're distracted on your phone or you expect to be on your phone during this time period, then you're kind of pulling your attention and your emotions and your energy in different directions. So figure out what to do about your phone, set it aside, set it somewhere else, put it on silent, whatever it is, so that way you can be fully focused and fully present for them. So again, you want to make sure you're not hungry, you're hopefully not tired, you have some sort of calmness in your mind that whatever's stressing you out is going to be taken care of later. I think that's usually the hardest. I remember there was a discussion about Erev Shabbos. That's usually the hardest Erev Shabbos because we're trying to take care of our kids. We also have a million other stressors that are popping up. Yeah. You have anything? It's the parent being prepared for themselves.
Yeah, I'll just add that also, at the moment you're sort of maybe just listening to Michal say this. So try to see it for yourself. The reason why she says this is because she's experienced this and she understands this. We're talking about Das. Same thing here, that it's important to recognize how we act differently when we've eaten versus when we haven't eaten, or when we're tired, we're not tired. And when you realize that, then you start to prioritize things properly. Meaning, so to speak, better have a house that's dirtier and you're in a better mood than a clean house and you're in a grumpy mood. And it's a balance you have to figure out. Everyone has their own balance that they want to achieve. You have to figure out what you want to achieve. But it's recognizing that if I'm not in a good mood, why is it? Is it because I'm hungry? Is it because I'm tired? And if you're not hungry, not tired, so then you can realize something else. But it's good to just like in the baby, with the baby, that you're did I feed her? It needs to be changed. She's tired, and you're trying to go through that system of what's wrong. And if you get good at it, so then there must be something else. So too with ourselves, that we try to go through that system. We know that we've taken care of all those important things, and so then we can figure out what's going on.
Yeah, that's great. Okay, now that we hopefully have taken care of ourselves as much as we can, now let's take a look at how does this play out with taking care of our children. So knowing what the kids have had for lunch, for example, I always can tell when they have eaten lunch or when they haven't, or whether the lunch was a hefty, good lunch
Wholesome.
or wholesome lunch, or it was just empty carbs. Because I can tell as we're coming home whether they're very hungry, whether they're grumpy, they're antsy, like what's going on with them. So what it's a bit revolutionary, but what I've started to do is that I give not just a snack, I give like a chetzi dinner type of snack. So for example, today, what did we have? Today we had tuna sandwiches. So it's not just, a bag of chips. It's not a little taste of bamba. It's not just a cheese stick. Well, a cheese stick is a wonderful thing, but like I try and give them more of a hefty lunch, a hefty snack, because I know that after this we're going to have a whole few hours. For example, the days that we have bath, it requires doing homework with them, and tired and doing homework is just not a good mix. So it's doing homework, it's playing together, and sometimes when they're hungry they don't play very nicely together. It also entails bath time. It also entails setting up for dinner, eating dinner, like all of these things. We have some time between that and like them being full after dinner. So that time period could be so much more enjoyable when they've eaten, and when I know that they're not hungry and they're constantly, mommy, what can I eat? What can I eat? What can I snack on? And sometimes an apple is very healthy, but I know that an apple, the span of feeling full of an apple is about 15 minutes. So I will give an apple while I prepare the next thing. But if not, it just ends up being like, I want a snack, I want a snack, I want a snack, I want a snack. So we changed a little bit of our mindset in regards to snack, and we started giving more of a hefty snack. So that's another thing, that like when you're coming home, when they're coming home from school, you could be a lot more prepared and know that they are probably going to be hungry. Another part of it is, how do you make a schedule for them? What types of activities have to get done, and what types of activities would be nice to get done, and what are the things, how am I going to schedule in some quality time with my kids? So I'll start with what needs to get done. So for example, my kids are old enough that we need to do homework. It must happen. We also need to take a bath on bath days. We also need to play nicely. So that's a different situation. But all of these things need to happen. And so therefore, I try to organize a schedule so that way we can have some fun, get those need things done, and then go have some more fun afterwards. So preferably, it would be nice to schedule some quality time in between those need things. Because if they come home, they get a snack, and I hit them right away, not hit them, but like I jump right into, okay, everybody, let's get all of our homework done. It could be a little too heavy for them. It could be a little too much for them to handle. So the way I do it is, we come home, we have a hefty snack. During the snack, I make sure that we're all sitting nicely and we have a nice conversation. And I always, not always, but I try to ask them, what was something enjoyable that happened today? I don't say, what was your favorite part of the day? Because then it becomes very tricky. Like, what's the favorite? So it's like, no, just tell me something that's fun. What did you enjoy today? What was something that you felt proud of yourself? Or what was something that was good that happened today? And then we start having a discussion. We all try to listen to what everybody has to say. By the time we finish this discussion, we're usually done with snack. Or, my kids are also part of Tibbetz Hashem, so we try and learn Sefer Mitzvahs together, which is a nice little perk. But in general, we try to make this time very enjoyable, and we're bonding together, and we're spending this quality time together. That said, afterwards, I can't just jump into homework. I need to give them some time to relax. I need to give them some time to play with toys. They spent their whole day learning in school, and yes, they play with toys in school, but it's not the same toys, and they just need some time to relax. So what I do is that I take my youngest, not baby, but my youngest, and as he's already sitting right there, what I do is I take out his homework book, and he's so excited to do it right away. He goes, yeah, mommy, I want to be the first one. And for him, it's very thrilling to be the first one. So I do homework with him first while I let everybody else go play. So that gives them an opportunity to also play and spend quality time together and, just relax, enjoy their toys and etc. Then as soon as he finishes, so I give him a small treat for doing his homework, and then he goes off to play. Then I pull my second son, and I bring him one at a time. So that way I'm able to spend this quality time one-on-one with each of them because the other ones are playing nicely together. So this takes some time because my kids are old enough to play nicely together. So, but at the same time, maybe your kids are not doing homework yet. So putting this into context. But this way, I'm able to pull one at a time. I get quality time with each of them, and I get to do homework at their level with each of them. I don't just expect them to do it on their own, and then they'll tell me whether they did or they didn't. I'm there, and I'm helping and guiding them, and that way, I'm also able to tell where they're holding, in comparison to the class, or where they're meant to be, or far behind. What needs some more strengthening, and then afterwards, I pull in my last son, or lately he's been learning with my husband when my husband comes home. And this way I get to spend quality time with each of them. That said, I think I'm rambling. Do you want to add something?
I'm not home yet.
No, he's not home yet for this part of the. So that said, a very, very, very crucial thing to keep in mind is realistic expectations. If your kids had a rough night the night before and you can tell that they're very tired, or if when we sat down for snack, one of them mentioned that he had a really hard day in school, I have to realize that maybe today is not the greatest day to be pushing him on, excelling even more on his homework, or to have higher expectations of him at that point in time.
Yeah, I had just one thing.
Yeah.
Say something.
Go.
That one of the things that we've talked about this in the past classes, something that's very important from what we've seen, is a kid doesn't become anything in one class. So like I take it's years of something. Meaning, I think sometimes we're like, we have to make sure he does the homework exactly correctly right now. Otherwise, what's gonna be, he's not gonna do it properly. Yeah? And like when you see the situation and you see, let's say the kid's very tired, but you didn't do the homework. So you have some minimums, let's say. We try to make sure that the homework is a minimum. So once that's not a minimum, then it starts to get a slippery slope. Yeah. But together with that, if it's like a hard day, so maybe we'll help him out, try to make it easier, try to get it going so it's done. The important thing is that like she was saying, realistic expectations. If you see, like, you don't have to stress out about everything all the time. Your kid is nothing good or bad is gonna happen in one shot. It's over time, and if over time you constantly do it, and we've been learning this and trying to instill it in our kids, that and if you want to be successful at it, and you think of any person, any story, or any chassid, or any Talmud Chacham, or anyone, it takes time. It takes time, and as long as you do it consistently, it will work. And stay with the homework, or whatever it is that you're trying to do. If say brachas, let's say, if it's not working out so well, so make sure it's on the standard that they can actually do, and don't stress about it. It's not like they don't say the bracha today. That's it. They're never going to say the brachas. As someone told me, they told their husband, "Don't worry." By the chuppah, they were like worried about the kriya level. And I said, "Don't worry about it. He's going to be able to read under the chuppah. It'll be fine." And the message I understood from that was like, relax. Like I think as parents, especially our first child, I think it's a lot of times very hard because we don't really know what we're doing and stuff, and we're sort of learning as we go. So you just got to relax. Don't worry about it. It's all going to be fine.
Mm-hmm. Another key point about expectations and realistic expectations is also to let them know what are the expectations, like making sure that they have clear expectations. So this is what it entails to do your homework, or this is what it entails to play nicely, or now we're going to do this, and after we do this, we're going to take a bath. So they know what to expect, which also leads into having a schedule that they can feel comfortable and confident in. So we always know that Mondays and Wednesdays and Fridays are bath day, for example. oh, today's bath day, tomorrow's not bath day. Today's bath day, tomorrow's not bath day. And it gives them, they know what to expect. Also, we know that when we come home, first is snack, then we play. During play, mommy pulls out each one for homework. After homework, we all play together. And then afterwards, if it's a bath day, then we all take a bath. Or, like if they know what's coming and you're consistent about it, so then they're able to, you're reaching less of like what do you call that? Like clash points. It's not like you're pulling a new one on them every few minutes or every day or every other day. It's okay, this is what happens. This is what happens every day. This is how we schedule our time every day, and this is how it works. And so they start to have an easier time settling into that. Okay. So with this, I want to set a very, very, very big point about having fun with your kids. Whether it's letting loose and dancing with them, whether it's
playing the games that they like to play.
Yeah, playing games that they like to play, just sometimes be silly and make funny noises, or like for example, today I was reading them a bedtime book and they wanted me to read it. Each of our kids gets one book before they go to bed. So they both wanted the same book. So I said, okay, I'm not going to read it the same way because that would just be, funny and silly. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the first one slow, and the second time I read it, I'm going to read it fast. And they were giggling and laughing, and they were just having the funniest time because I kept trying to read it really fast and like stumbling over the words, and just have fun. Make a fun environment, make it enjoyable, make it positive and besimcha in your home, in those little details that you can add. Just sitting with them and discussing things with them and coloring with them, or every once in a while bring them and get them to help you cook something, or mix the something with you.
Also, like, yeah, just that's like I have sometimes that one of my kids likes to play Lego. I don't really care about Lego.
It's more my
maybe it is, and sometimes we'll say, come on, let me play with you, and he'll be like, are we gonna play Lego together? And I'm like, but I see the reaction on his face and how exciting it is for him to be able to play Lego with me. Like I play and I get involved, and I also, yeah, like same thing, and I see the difference, like how enjoyable it is for them when I come and play with them, or like we go outside and we run around or something, tag, and like, oh, you want to play with us? We're playing, and it's like a whole level. You see it within them. It's a whole level of like, wow, this is like the best thing in the world, especially as parents, they don't always necessarily have the time. But if you spend like 5 minutes a day, or even, it's like an hour a week or something, or, once a week, and you go do this and you spend that quality time, and so to speak, so the house will be a little dirty, but you'd rather have a dirty house and a good relationship with your kids and an enjoyable time versus your house spick and span and your kids, running around in disaster, and you're just fighting against this whole process. And this is what we've seen, like, for ourselves, and I see this a lot, and I don't always recognize it, but after it happens, like, I'll play with them, and you can, like, inside of them, it's somewhere deep, they're like, oh, that was good. And then also, once that happens, then when you want to get them to do something, like help you clean up or set up the table or whatever it is, they're a lot more willing. Like, we're on good terms, and put you on good terms. And part of, like they say that, what is it, every like negative thing you have to say, or not negative, but whatever, everything that's like more the 5-to-1. The 5-to-1 ratio. Yeah. So this adds to those 5.
For every
this is
hard,
1, this is 5. One thing you do, and it's 5.
Yeah, for every hard topic, conversation, situation, whatever you have to have, you should
5 positive.
Yeah, you should have 5 positive.
So this is a 5. Depending on how much time you do it, but like you do it, and meaning, but like I was saying, that it has to be real. You have to not just pretend. Like sometimes I see people that'll say, the kid will say something, and so you don't really know what they're saying, but I'm like, oh, and they just pretend to hear. Yeah, it's so cute. Yeah, but the kids they're very sensitive, and they'll notice that you're not really paying attention. You're not really hearing. So it's putting in that effort and like playing them properly. Also, like if I play and I act like I don't really want to play, and I have like this sour face, they'll pick up on it. They might not say anything, they'll be happy to get whatever they get, but it doesn't have that same effect deep down. Whereas deep down, I'm there with them, it makes a very big difference.
Yeah. So even at those, not even, especially at those moments, that's when you can really hear what's going on with them. When we get our relationship past, okay, wake up, go get dressed, go to school, eat breakfast, get in the car, get out of the car, walk over here, go over there, your bus is here. Like once you get past the routine things that need to get done during the day, and you actually bond with your kids during those special moments of just sitting on their bed and just talking or reading them a book or playing Legos or dolls or whatever it is that they're into these days, even if they're young, even if they're little. For example, a baby, really by just being there, being present, looking at his or her eyes, tickling them and spending that quality time together, not just that we're keeping them alive, but also that we're really bonding with them, and they feel that we have given them our full attention. Those moments make a huge difference. Those moments really make an impact in your relationship. So I want to stress that, and I want to ask and hope that every single one of us takes that time to spend quality time with our kids.
I'll add to this. I'll like end it off sort of that yesterday we had like a little bit of a hard afternoon, and then in the day we did a dance party with the kids, and I'll be honest with you that I was not in the mood, and they started dancing, and I left, and I was like, finally, and I realized I'm gonna miss out this opportunity. That's not worth it to me. So I went back and we all danced. And the kids loved it. And I remember when they went to bed and we were talking, I'm like, that was such a good way to end off the day. And it really makes a big difference.
Yeah. So I wanted to share that, and to really, if hopefully we're able to do all the other things we spoke about, right? So making sure you're not hungry, making sure you're not tired, making sure you're not stressing out about other things, set it aside. This is your quality time with your kids. The bills will be taken care of. The Living Chassidus event will be finalized and set. All of these things, your job it'll still be there at 6 o'clock or whatever when your spouse comes home and he's able to give you a little bit of a break. It's giving and making that space for you and your children, making that space to be there and be there with them. And it's hard to do it every day. And I know that many times by the time my husband comes home, I really need a break. I need to decompress and especially lately I've been having another boy that I'm helping out, and I'm trying to help him. So it adds even more. It adds even more of the more kids that are here and all that. So taking care of yourself so that way you get the oxygen you need, as we spoke about in the Michal of on the airplane, and you need that oxygen. And then for them is trying to set up a schedule that works, and not just because my schedule works for me doesn't mean it's going to work in your home. You have to figure out what works for you and what works for your kids and what they need. And then setting some time to play together and to bond with your kids and to really be there for them. Even if you have other worries, now is the time to set those aside and really connect with them, play with them, have fun, whether it's connecting with them in their level of help, or connecting with them in your level. Get them to help you with whatever you're cooking, or get them to, I don't know, be a part of your life and you be a part of their life. Another thing is we mentioned was to have expectations, realistic expectations. If your kids are struggling, so then they're having a hard day, so then maybe don't push that extra little bit on homework, or don't push the boundaries too much on what you're expecting of them. Also have things that are clear. this is what we're doing now, and this is what we're doing later. Now we're going to play, and after playing, we're going to eat dinner, or after playing, we're going to take a bath. And that way they know what to expect. Another thing is for, I think that was it, actually. I think those are the main topics on that. Yeah, anything you want to add? Just to finish off that topic?
No, just, yeah.
Okay. Well, I wanted to share last week on Wednesday, Baruch Hashem was, sorry, last week, unless you want to read it.
No, you can read it.
Okay. Last week, Wednesday, was Chaf Beis Teves, and it was a very, very powerful Hayamim. I'm going to read the English. My revered father, the Rebbe Rashab, once declared at a Farbrengen, just as putting on tefillin every day is a scriptural commandment incumbent on every Jew, regardless of whether he's a great scholar or just a simple person or a simple person, so too it is an absolute obligation, okay? An absolute obligation for every Jew to dedicate half an hour every day to think about his children's education and to do everything in his power, and indeed more than what is in his power, to see to it that they follow the path in which they are being guided. So I wanted to speak about this for a little bit, because I know for many of us, thinking about having half an hour a day to think about our children's chinuch is a tall order. It's definitely a tall order for many of us. That said, this hayamim is very powerful. It doesn't say everyone who is a mechanech should think about the chinuch. Everyone who is wealthy and they don't have to work should have half an hour to think about children. It says every single one of us. And just like every mitzvah, it takes, or it's not a mitzvah per se, but just like every achlata that we take, so we have to take small steps. We can't jump in and say, okay, that's it, I'm scheduling half an hour every single day. We have to realize that this is something we should work towards. We should strive to do. We should strive to set half an hour where you really try and think, what is going on with my kid and how can I help him or her move forward in life? What can I do to help him or her have a better relationship with Hashem? What are some things that can help? Whether it's boost their self-esteem, whether it's help them with their school and their schooling, whatever they need for their schooling, whether it's, okay, maybe I should help them have better relations with their siblings, or maybe I should, speak to the school and see what's needed. But every single day we should set a little bit of time to think about it. And it may not be half an hour, but at least you're starting. Something that we started to do is that when the kids go to bed and we have some adult time, one of the first things we try to discuss is, okay, how was our day with the kids? What can be improved? What is this kid, each one of the kids, what are they working on? What can we compliment them tomorrow? What is something that we need to ask for help? Sometimes we need to reach out to our chinuch mashpia and say, okay, how can we improve this midah? How can we work on this aspect of our day and our schedule? And today was a hard day because of this. What can we do about it? So just taking a little bit of time to have a discussion with your husband or your spouse and say, okay, what can we do about this kid, or what's going on with this kid, and just making that effort to really focus on them and don't just live life on the go. Take the moment and really think about what's going on with each of your kids and what can I do? What's something small that I can do tomorrow to help them with this? So that was one thing I really wanted to share. Another thing I wanted to share is something that I shared on our group last week, but I wanted to have a small discussion about it. It's in Seeds of Wisdom number 2. It's page 49. So the story goes like this, and then we'll finish off with this thought. A young man who was about to begin a career in education visited the Rebbe for a bracha. Quote, I understand that you have chosen to become an educator, the Rebbe said to him. Correct, the man replied. Allow me to share with you what it means to be an educator, offered the Rebbe. It is not merely to teach information, but to provide your students with faith and a moral compass for life. Pause. Take a pause on this story. So this man comes to the Rebbe, and the Rebbe says, so I understand you're becoming an educator, becoming a mechanech, which, by the way, every time we have a baby, we are kind of taking on that role for our own children. So realize you're becoming the educator for your child. And what does the Rebbe define an educator as? He defines it as, it is not merely to teach information, but to provide your students with faith and a moral compass for life. Let me just share. Today I had a very interesting situation happen. A car got towed right outside my window, so I got to watch the entire show. And the towing company, the towing truck came, and after he left, I saw that he had left a big tool. It was left right in the middle, on the side of the street, but it was still on the street where cars drive, and it was just left there. And my first thought was, oh, you know what? I wonder if I remember what company it was, so I could find the number and call them. Or I wonder if maybe we should set it aside, pick it up and put it on the side of the street. That way, if he comes back and he realizes, wow, I lost my tool, I'm going to try and go back to where I last used it, and he'll find it there, and he'll see, oh, wow, thank you so much. Somebody left it by the sidewalk. So I commented to my husband about it, and we both looked out the window. We said, oh, we discussed it. Literally within less than a few minutes, a car drives past. Someone sees it, and he literally stops the car in the middle of the street, and this is Kingston, so stopping a car in the middle of Kingston is quite a feat. He stops the car in the middle of the street. He looks around both ways. He sees that it's no one's, so he goes, he takes it, he chucks it in his trunk, and he drives off. So essentially, he just took something that wasn't his. And whatever, whether a Rav would tell you he should or he can't or he can or whatever, that's a different discussion. But it made me realize how important it is for us to really teach our children morals, for us to show them what's right, for us to show them what's true, what's considered stealing, what's not considered stealing, what's considered your space and other people's spaces, what's considered speaking nicely to someone or not speaking nicely to someone. And when we do this, we're not just affecting this one child. We are literally affecting every single person that child is in contact with. So it's a very important thing to keep in mind, that we're not just teaching our children how to tie their shoes and how to make money. Our job as educators is to teach them what's moral and what's not moral, what's right according to Torah and what's not right according to Torah, and to make them a light and a lamplighter unto the world. Okay, pause. Now we're going to continue. Back to the story. And how does one transmit this to one's students? The Rebbe mused. It must come from you. You must take your own fear of heaven, Yirah Shamayim, and share it with your students. If you will be a model of passion and purity at all times, that's what they will observe and absorb. The Rebbe concluded, remember, like a well which needs constant replenishing so it doesn't run dry, you need to constantly work on yourself and refill your own reservoir of faith. That is so powerful. What is this showing us? It is our job as parents not just to teach our children how to be successful in the world, but we have to teach them what's right and what's not right. And we have to teach them our Yirah Shamayim. We have to teach them that Hashem is in charge. There is Hashem here. We have to teach them about Emunah. We have to teach them about Bitachon. We have to teach them Halacha. All of these good things. That's the essence of what we're meant to do. And how do we do it? By us living with it. By us living with our Chassidus, by us living with the concepts of Torah, by us showing through our actions. This is how we teach it. And to the author adds a little snippet at the end. So this is the snippet from the author. Your children will become what you are. So be what you want them to be. So I hope this leaves us with a good Ferengen. I want to say tonight is a very special night. It is Rabbi Tzimchana's birthday. And I have a very, very, very loving and dear relationship with Rebbe Chana, and she is my model of a mother. And I hope that I shall fulfill. I should, do as she does, and I hope to raise my children like she raised her children. And I want to extend that bracha to every single one of you. So, anything you'd like to add? Okay. L'chaim. Thank you, and see you guys up next week.